giving you an opportunity to get the full story from the people who tell it best. This is Mediacom Newsleaders.
Hello, I'm David Gillette, and this is Mediacom Newsleaders. Our guest in the studio this hour is Kristen Poppleton, the K12 Education Program Manager at the Will Steger Foundation. Kristen, thanks very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about the challenges of incorporating climate science into education. That's a lot of your background at the Will Steger Foundation. Can you tell us more about how you approach that topic, how you do that?
Well, I think first of all, just with, you asked about climate science. We really look at climate change as an interdisciplinary issue. It's obviously grounded in science of the greenhouse effect and understanding those sorts of cycles, planetary Earth cycles, but it also is, especially right now, an issue that plays out with language arts, how we use language, how we're talking about this issue, the way that we're communicating about it, whether through media or technology or through the literary arts. It's an issue that we can use to teach through different disciplines. And so at the foundation, we consider ourselves pretty good at actually using these multimedia ways of getting to teachers. Our website has tons of videos from expeditions that we have taken over the years that educators can use in their classroom to learn a little bit about how climate change is affecting the polar regions. We also have a blog which is really talking to educators about different tools they can use in their classroom, challenges they might face in the classroom as far as teaching climate change and how they might overcome those. So those are some of the ways that we're approaching. You know,
I'm curious about the language part of what you said, influencing how we talk about this issue. Can you go into a little more depth on that? Because I haven't heard a lot of that discussed, the language component into this.
Well, it's really fascinating, at least I think. Climate change right now, especially this, we're in an era of a lot of information that we can access through the internet, through the television, through the radio. And we need to be able to understand that that information is being crafted in some way. Right now, you're crafting this conversation with us in some way. And so climate change has been portrayed as a moral issue. And so it's been portrayed as an issue that's purely scientific. And depending on what kind of person you are, you may be interested in it because of the way that it's being communicated to you. And people use that as a tool to reach different audiences. And so right now, climate change is being portrayed as a contentious issue where it isn't. 97% of scientists agree that climate change is real and it is happening, yet it's being framed by certain groups as an issue there's all sorts of debate over it still. And so.
Well, I can definitely see how it would be easy to identify the framing component, maybe how we're crafting it here or whenever you talk about it. How do you engage with that crafting, though? Maybe you're watching a presentation like this and you think it's biased one way or another, you think it's not framing correctly. What do you do about that? How can you change that course? How do you get involved in that conversation?
I don't know that you change it, but just recognizing that information is coming to you in a certain way and really listening to the source, understanding where it's coming from, and then, you know, if you're really interested, going back and finding out where are you getting this information. Our actually grades through 6 curriculum through the Will Steger Foundation introduces students to climate science. This is what the greenhouse effect is. This is, you know, how climate change is affecting certain areas. But then it asks students to go back and actually create their own piece of communication based on thinking about a particular audience. So if they were going to talk to their mom or dad about climate change, maybe their mom loves animals, and so the way they'd communicate to their mom would be to say, oh, this is affecting wildlife. But maybe their dad is an accountant who's really concerned with money, and they'd say it's affecting the economy in this particular way.
You know, we're almost out of time, but can you give me the website really briefly?
www.willstegerfoundation.org.
Okay, Kristen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Our newsleader this hour has been Kristen Poppleton of the Will Steger Foundation. Be sure to join us again next time right here on Mediacom Newsleaders. Thanks for watching.